Have you ever stopped to wonder why you feel stuck, even when you try your best to move forward? Why no matter how hard you push, something invisible seems to hold you back? It's not bad luck. It's not lack of opportunity. It's something far more powerful and far more personal. The real war is not around you. It's inside you. It's the battle happening silently in your own mind. Every day, from the moment you open your eyes, thoughts start firing off. Some encourage you. Most don't. You think you're just having a rough morning, but in reality, the war has already begun. And here's the scary truth. Most people are losing the battle without even knowing they're in one. They wake up already defeated, already drowning in self-doubt, already convinced that today won't be any different from yesterday. This is not life. This is survival on autopilot. But you're not here just to survive. You're here to win. You're here because some part of you is tired. Tired of being controlled by fear, by past mistakes, by voices that aren't even yours. That voice in your head telling you you're not good enough, that you're too late, that you'll never make it, it's lying, and it's time to shut it down. Your mind is a battlefield, not in the way movies show. No dramatic explosions, no loud chaos. It's quiet, invisible, but deadly. Every negative thought is like a seed planted in your brain. If you don't catch it, if you don't stop it, it grows. And with enough repetition, it becomes your reality. That's how doubt works. That's how fear takes over. Not all at once, but little by little. One thought, one whisper, one bad memory replayed too many times. Psychologists say we have over 60,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are the same ones from yesterday. Think about that. If your mind is filled with fear, worry, and negativity, and you keep replaying those same thoughts, how can anything change? The truth is, change doesn't start with a new job, a new city, or a new relationship. It starts with new thoughts, with a new mental fight plan. Your thoughts are not just words in your head. They are weapons. They either build you or break you. And every day you get to choose which ones you pick up. Will you choose the thoughts that tear you down or the ones that lift you up? That choice is your power. That power has always been in you. But most people give it away to doubt, to fear, to pain from the past. They let their mind become a weapon used against themselves. But you are not most people. The fact that you're here, listening, means you're ready. You're ready to become aware of this silent war. You're ready to stop being a prisoner of your mind and start being its commander. Because once you win in your mind, you start winning everywhere else. That's how it works. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You just need a mental shift, one that says, I am not my past. I am not my fear. I am not the noise in my head. I am the one who decides what stays and what goes. When you understand that, everything begins to change. If you stay with this message until the end, you're going to walk away with a weapon stronger than anything life can throw at you. You'll learn how to disarm those thoughts that have controlled you for years. You'll stop seeing life as something happening to you and start shaping it from the inside out. Because when you win the war in your mind, the world has no choice but to follow. So don't just sit there and listen. Lean in. Let every word challenge the lies you've believed. Let it awaken something inside you. Because this is more than just another video. This is a turning point. And it begins right here, in the battlefield of your own mind. Most people don't realize how much power a single thought holds. One thought, that's all it takes to shift the course of an entire day, an entire life. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, your mind tells you something. Maybe it says you're already behind, or you're not strong enough for today. And if you accept that thought, even for a second, it colors everything that follows. That single idea becomes your lens, your filter. And suddenly, you're not living with purpose. You're reacting from fear. The mind is quick. It doesn't ask for permission to think, but that doesn't mean you have to believe everything it says. Just because a thought shows up doesn't mean it's true. It only becomes real when you accept it, when you repeat it, when you give it your energy. That's where most people go wrong. They absorb their thoughts instead of observing them. They let fear walk in like it owns the place. But the truth is, you're the one in control. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of them. The stories you tell yourself become the walls around your life. Or nuzzle it. If you keep saying I'm stuck, then you'll never move. If you keep saying I'm not enough, you'll never feel worthy. Your brain listens. It listens to what you say to yourself. It records it, then plays it back until it feels like truth. But here's the good news. You can rewrite the script. You can choose to plant different thoughts. Thoughts that build, not break. Thoughts that lift, not bury. It all begins with awareness. The moment you start paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind, you gain the power to interrupt them, to replace them. And that's when everything starts to change. The mind doesn't get stronger by chance. It gets stronger by training, one thought at a time, one moment of choosing something better. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about power. The kind of power that starts in silence, in stillness, in the space between two thoughts, the space where you choose who you are becoming. Your mind is always listening, and more importantly, it's always recording. Whatever you feed it the most becomes its truth. That's why your self-talk matters more than anyone else's opinion. If you wake up every day and tell yourself you're broken, your brain starts building a world around that belief. It doesn't ask questions. It just accepts the story and reinforces it with every choice you make. But when you begin to shift the narrative even slightly, your mind starts to respond. It listens just as closely when you say, I'm healing, when you say, I'm learning, when you say, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting stronger. What you repeat, you believe. What you believe, you become. That's the psychological wiring of the brain. Neural pathways get stronger the more they're used. So if you've spent years telling yourself that you're not good enough, those pathways are deep. But that doesn't mean you're stuck with them. The brain is designed to change. It's built for transformation. And every time you challenge a limiting thought, every time you speak something empowering, you begin to rewire those connections. The quiet moments matter most. That's when the mind is the most vulnerable. When you're alone, when you failed, when you're tired, that's when the old stories try to creep back in. But that's also where the power is. Because in those moments, you get to choose a new story. Not based on the past. Not based on fear, but based on who you're becoming. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop feeding the thoughts that are keeping you small. Speak words that stretch you, that challenge you, that remind you you're not defined by yesterday's version of you. Every time you do, you're not just surviving the day. You're rewriting the future. And it all starts with the words you allow to live inside your mind. There's a voice in your head that doesn't want you to grow. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It questions everything. It says, are you sure you can handle this? Or what if you fail again? What if you're just not meant for more? That voice isn't your enemy, but it isn't your truth either. It's a survival mechanism, a pattern formed by past experiences, disappointments, and fears. It was built to protect you, but it's doing the opposite. It's keeping you small, it's keeping you safe and stuck. Psychology calls it the inner critic, and it's in every one of us. But here's what most people don't know. You don't have to listen. Just because that voice shows up doesn't mean it deserves a seat at your table. You get to decide which voices you follow. You get to decide which thoughts lead and which ones fade. The moment you realize that, you take back control. Flow. You stop being a passive listener and start becoming the director of your mental script. The inner critic survives on silence. The more you let it speak without challenge, the louder it gets. But when you interrupt it, when you stand up and say, that's not who I am anymore, it begins to shrink. Oh, you don't have to be fearless. You just have to be louder than the fear. You just have to remind yourself again and again that your future is not written by fear. It's written by focus, by courage, by repetition. You were never meant to stay in the same mental cage forever. Growth requires disruption, and that starts by questioning the thoughts that limit you. The moment you choose to stop believing the old lies, the inner critic loses power. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer gets the final word. The strength you're looking for isn't somewhere out there. It's already inside you, buried under years of self-doubt. And now is the time to dig it out, to raise your voice, and to take the pen back. Because your story isn't over. It's just getting started. You don't have to win every battle in your mind today. You just need to win the next one. That's how real transformation begins. Not in massive, sudden change, but in small moments of power. One thought, one decision, one step forward. When you choose strength over fear just once, it creates a ripple. And when you keep choosing it, that ripple becomes momentum. The war in your mind isn't won all at once. It's won in the small, quiet victories no one sees. The ones where you show up for yourself when it would have been easier to quit. Most people think they have to wait for motivation. But that's the trap. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. The moment you decide to act, even when you don't feel ready, your brain starts to shift. Your body follows. Your confidence grows. Your confidence grows. Because deep down, confidence isn't about knowing you'll succeed. It's about knowing you won't back down. It's about trusting that no matter how hard it gets, you'll find a way through. Every time you replace a negative thought with a stronger one, you train your mind to believe in possibility again. So every time you rise after falling, you prove to yourself that failure isn't final. That strength isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. You don't need to have the loudest voice in the room. You just need to be consistent in your own mind. Consistency rewires your brain. It builds discipline. It makes courage your default, not your exception. So the goal isn't to never struggle. The goal is to keep showing up through the struggle, to keep choosing progress over comfort, growth over fear. Your future doesn't come from wishing things were different, friend. It comes from doing something different. Starting with the next thought you choose to believe. That's the power you hold. To shift your story, one thought at a time. You've been fighting long enough. Now it's time to start winning.